Hey, Warrior Nation, welcome back. Are you looking for a coach, either a life coach or an executive coach? I'm so glad you're here because I'm going to share with you 5 reasons I'm not the coach for you. Hi, I'm Nile Harris, a life strategist, business consultant, and speaker working with aspiring entrepreneurs and transitioning professionals to transform your passion and purpose into profit by managing your business like a boss. And before we dive into the 5 reasons I'm not the coach for you're looking for, I would love it if you would take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on alerts so you know when I post new content. Please join me online at LinkedIn on Nile Harris and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at I am Nile Harris so we can continue the conversation and stay engaged. Now look, I know it sounds weird. Here I am trying to convince you I'm not the coach for you. No, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just going to give you 5 reasons I might not be the coach for you. Isn't that refreshing? Most people are trying to sell you on why they are the one for you. Let's look at it from a different angle. I believe in coaching and professional development and personal development. I invest my time, my own dollars for it. It's not just something that we get at work. And the first coach I ever had was sort of not good. Not a, it was, she was a disaster. Well, she became a disaster for me. This was the first coach that I invested my own money out of my own pocket for. It wasn't assigned to me at work, wasn't paid for by my job. I chose this individual and wrote the check myself. I also checked down below in the comments where I posted earlier about how to choose and how to go about choosing a coach for you to fit your very specific and personal needs. It's a very personal choice. Back to this particular coach. She was what I needed when I started. I was kind of aimless and wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I had been laid off and I knew I wanted to take control of my destiny. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know where to get started. And she was what I needed in that moment and helped me set goals and put some tracking tools in place. And it was just kind of this flow. I think our first cycle, we worked together maybe 2 months, something in that time frame. And then I had to renew the package. And so I did. And I realized that as I began to evolve, in the relationship and as I began to evolve in knowing what I wanted to do, I found that she wasn't necessarily coming along with me for the journey. It was kind of just sort of the same thing every session. Also, she was a coach. She didn't do what I had done. She didn't know how to do a lot of the things that she was saying to do. I had wanted to start a blog and she was like, okay, we'll start a blog. And when I would ask, what are some of the things, where should I find information about that? How do I do that? She didn't know. And one of the things that sets me apart as a coach is that I'm not just coaching people on what to do. I've actually done it. I've launched a product. I've started a blog, a website, all of that. Anyway, back to the story. She wasn't evolving with me. She couldn't tell me, give me really good insights on where to find it, even find information or how to do things. And that was sort of frustrating. And then the third thing was she wasn't really a good listener. I would sort of come into the conversation and say, well, I'm going to do XYZ with my website. I'm going to And in the very next second, she would say, well, Niall, have you considered adding XYZ to your website? Have you considered doing this? And I was like, well, I literally just said that just 2 seconds ago. Were you listening? And it was like that session to session. It wasn't like it was just one session. It was like that session to session. Obviously, I ended that relationship. But all of this is to say that works with your personal learning style, your development style, the way you are best motivated is all great, and that's what you should be doing. So let me give you the 5 reasons why I'm not the coach for you. Reason number 1 is I believe in unicorns, not uniforms. Okay, what? I don't believe that we were born to be any one thing. And we go to school and we get the message that we go to school, we sit in our seats, we walk in straight lines, we wear a uniform, we do this, that, or the other. to college, we do it again, except for we're not in straight lines and we kind of have to get ourselves to class and do that. But we declare a major. And then we take all of these classes that are within our major. And if you want to take a class that's outside of your major, you don't really have a ton of opportunity to do that, but you do have like extracurriculars and things that you could do. Then you're expected to graduate with that major completed, get a good job, stay in that good job, move up in that good job, and then retire and die. Like that sort of seems like that's the way that we're taught to be. And it's just not the case. It's not what I believe in. We're not made to be any one thing. And it's okay if you want to change what you are two, three, four, five times, as long as you have a plan and if it makes you happy and you can pay the bills and or not pay the bills, whatever it is. But I believe in being a unicorn, and part of that comes from the framework that I developed called the jump framework to help people make the jump from the other side of fear and foolishness to everything that you desire. And there are two factors of fear and two factors of foolishness. And within fear, it's the internalization of what we're capable of doing, what we're what we think we can do. And that comes from what we are told, what we observe, and what we experience in our lives. And oftentimes we're told being a unicorn, being a standout is unacceptable. It's a no-go. Even at work, fit in, stay, do what you're supposed to do, be in this role for 2, 3 years, be in this role for 4 or 5 years. But if that were the case, and if that really worked, then why are there some people in the organization who move up and move up quickly who don't do that, who get moved around from, either city to city, or they move around functions, or they, move around in leadership positions, right? The pathway to success does not look like this. It looks like this. And, but we're told, well, do this. But the people who really succeed are the ones that kind of, go around, figure things out, and they become a complete like 360 person. They become a unicorn. They know how to navigate different things. So if it is so cool to be in a uniform, why are the unicorns getting promoted? Reason number two, I'm not the coach for you. I am a goal getter, not a wish maker. I played soccer growing up, and I will never forget this guy. After graduating from college, I played rec league in Chicago, and I was having a terrible game, just terrible. Every shot I took on goal, it didn't just miss. It was like a mile down the road, like a country mile down the road. I was not getting these shots on goals anywhere close to where they needed to be. And the stopper, he was this English fellow, kind of this big guy. He looked like a stopper. He comes up to me and he's like, Nile, what's going on? You're forward. Getting goals is your bread and butter. That is literally your only job on the field, is to get goals. And at first I started to, get a little offended. Well, like, how dare you, sir? That is not my only job on the field. It is. It actually kind of is. But I never forget how he called me a goal getter. That's my job. Get goals. Don't wish to make goals. Don't kick the ball and God, I hope it goes in the net. Go in the net. Go. No. My job is to get the ball through the net. And so that is what I help people do when I coach. And like I said, I use this jump framework. So we start off top with what is a goal, and we set the goal correctly. We set SMART goals. So we're going to understand exactly what it is that you want to achieve after we finish our time together. And hopefully we don't finish our time together anytime soon, but we'll, keep setting new goals and new goals and new goals. But one of the things that happens, and what I found for me and why I developed this as a jump framework, is because I needed more structure. I really wanted something that I was working for. So I believe in high performance results-based coaching. That's what I needed for me. So if that's not what you need for you, if you don't need the structure, if you don't want to set goals, or if you go without setting goals, I'm not the coach for you. Reason number 3, I am not the coach for you. I make plans, not excuses. Have you ever seen a Super Bowl winning football team not have a plan? And the losing team, the team that performed the worst that year, have lots of excuses. When a football team is getting their roster together for the next year, they do an assessment of what gaps they need to fill. Do they need to have a backup quarterback? Do they need to replace the first string quarterback? Or do they have any gaps in their defensive line? And they don't just do this on the field too. They also look at their coaching staff and all of the support staff. What is it that we need to make it to the Super Bowl? That's their goal. What do we need to make it to the Super Bowl? What do we need to be the champions? Do we have the right players on the field? Do we have them in the right positions? Then, once they know what their gaps are, they make a plan to recruit, to draft, to trade, to do, to hire. What do we need to do to fill these gaps? And they make that plan. Then, once the team is set, the roster's set, they got the folks on the field, and they think they've got the people in the right positions, they have development plans for those folks. Maybe the second string quarterback, he needs to work on his passing game. Or maybe the first string quarterback needs to work on his passing game. Maybe the kicker needs to be able to kick further. It's all about what is those individuals' needs, and how as a coach, head coach, and a coaching staff do they develop plans around training and development. What they also do is they have a playbook. They don't just go out there and throw the ball and pass the ball. They have a playbook. They have a strategy. And this is what I also advocate when I'm working with folks. We're going to put together a plan of action. It's just what we're going to do. Got a template for you and everything. But when you set the goal, it's not enough to just set the goal. You need to work toward the goal. You need to kind of figure out how you're going to do it. How are you going to make it to the Super Bowl that year? What are the plans? Who are the people? And what are the plays that are going to get you on the field? So if you're not a planner, if that's not something that excites you, I'm not the coach for you. Reason number 4 that I might not be the coach for you, I believe in action over activity. Let's go back to football for a second. That Super Bowl winning team. Once they have that plan, they have to go out there and do the plays. They got to run the plays. The people who were practicing, right? Let's think of the call. That's They make the calls on the field. They call the audibles. They do what they need to do. They march the ball down the field. They decide if they need to kick a field goal, if they need to do a 2-point conversion. They are taking action on the plans and the decisions that they were made. One of the ways that you might be doing activity over action is, okay, let's say you decide you're going to start your business this year. Congratulations. You get your domain name, you get business cards, you get a logo, you choose a color palette, a tagline, a business name, you incorporate, you're doing good. A lot of that is activity. Incorporating is actually an action, but a lot of it, getting the color palette and all that, while those things are important, if you weren't also doing lead generation, calling people, setting up meetings, selling, hunting, you are doing a lot of activities over action. You have to balance the two, because you are going to need a business card, but do you need a business card right away? You are going to need a website, but there are plenty of people who do business with just a one-page website or a no-page website. They use Facebook or they use Instagram to get started. What do you don't need to start off perfectly, and besides, perfection might be holding you back actually from achieving your goals and your dreams. It's about the action. What are the revenue generating things that you need to be doing most of spending 80% of your time on. So, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about starting a business, by the way. If it's being executive coaching, it's are you looking to get promoted in the next 2 to 3 years to the vice president level, to the president level, to the director level. And we'll set up goals. The goal is I want to be vice president level in the next 3 years in this function, and I want this much responsibility in terms of budget and span of control, right? Those were the goals. Then what's the plan? What are your gaps? What's your individual development plan? What are some of the maybe courses or things that you need to do and take and learn to fill some of your leadership gaps, to fill some of your knowledge gaps? What's the plan? When are you going to take those classes? What do you need to have in terms of mentorship and advocacy and sponsorship, building that network, right? Those are all actions. What's that 360? Request a 360. All the things that you feel that you would need to do. If you are not ready for that level of action taking and that tempo, I'm not the coach for you. Sign number 5, or reason number 5 rather, that I am not the coach for you is I believe in courageous conversation versus complaints. Some folks will show up to a coaching session to complain. Here's the thing. Complaining is healthy. Unleashing is healthy. It's actually part of my GEM framework. You need to release whatever is going on up here in order to unleash your full potential, right? Your warrior unleashed. So I do allow for that unburdening, telling me the things that you can't say to a boss or a colleague or a partner or a spouse or a friend, right? And that's also part of the relationship. I'm going to, however, move you on from that, right? Because then we have to dig in and have some courageous conversations about how you are contributing to whatever it is that you're experiencing. Are you stuck or are you addicted? Addicted to the pain, addicted to the story, addicted to the negativity. Because if you're addicted, it's the brain, right? The brain has a negativity bias. And sometimes we think it's us, like I just can't do it. The brain is partially, probably mostly responsible for a lot of the negative thoughts. Just because it has a negativity bias, it focuses on the negative. The brain's only job, primary job, is to keep us alive. And when we start to want to change, it considers it a threat to our survival. It doesn't matter that getting a promotion to us is a good thing. The brain's like, oh my gosh, you're working longer. Oh my gosh, you want something that you new, you want something different, you want something more. Oh my gosh, you're not worthy, you're not all of that. We work through that, and I help people work through that, and we dig deep and we talk about, where did you get the idea that you had to be perfect? Where did you get the idea that you weren't enough? Who told you that? What did you experience? Why do you keep carrying it forward? Are you stuck or are you addicted? Are you having imposter syndrome? Why are you having imposter syndrome? We're gonna dig, like we're gonna uncover some stuff, and it's not just about your professional life, and it's not just about your personal life. There are connections to everything. We don't, once we walk through the door at work or we walk through the door in business, we don't leave behind who we are. The things that impacted us as children that we carry into adulthood, we carry into to work. We carry it into the boardroom. We carry it into our reviews and one-on-ones with other people. We carry it into our interactions as leaders, and who we decide to amplify and not amplify, or who we decide to bring to the table or not bring to the table. We get messages throughout our entire life, and we have courageous conversations about the truth of those things. What are habits, and what are also, how are you just not showing up for yourself? How are you conforming and saying, I have no choice? So if you guessed it, are not ready to have those courageous conversations, if you don't want to reveal some stuff and things, not everything, but some stuff and some things, I'm not the coach for you. Right? So that's it. Those are the 5 reasons I might not be the coach for you.